All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another day, another update. I know I've been hashing these things out right and left, but day 3 certainly warrants an update. A lot has happened since day 2. As you can see, my character looks a little different, a little bit more to form. My usual self, if I don't say so myself. Yes, I have made the swap to Poison Tornado Shot, as I hoped I would by day 3 or day 4, somewhere in there. Making my own build guide. I certainly wanted to follow in my own footsteps and prove that it could be done. And in order to accumulate the currency necessary to do so, I ran 100 maps on Jungle Valley and Beach, alternating with a literal zero investment strategy. If for some reason you missed that video, it's one video back from this one. Just dropped it yesterday. But that is old news, because now we have the Poison Tornado Shot. So here she is. I liquidated about 3/4 of what I found yesterday, and it was very difficult to do so because trade was down the whole time. So truth be told, actually I finished this character in the very beginning of day 4 because I was able to wake up and come online, and oh voila, trade is working perfectly fine again. It was really awful the other night, but it is now done, and I don't think there's anything I've missed here other than going above and beyond. And I've already started going above and beyond the guide. So we have a dark scorn here. It is well rolled. It's definitely a little better rolled than the one in the build guide. I create the build guide with items that I think, serve as a nice benchmark to try and keep the floor not terribly high. But when me, myself, especially when it comes to trying to get gear pieces for major upgrades that I'm going for, I typically try to go for almost perfection. And you can see this dark scorn is right in alignment with that principle. Very high roll physical dark scorn there. I had an amazing stroke of luck today. The offline streamer client kicked in really good. Definitely the luckiest moment this league. Unfortunately, it was not on stream. I managed to craft an absolute monster endgame quiver. This thing basically cannot be improved beyond going to mirror tier. So I will not be seeking an upgrade on this until at which point I get mirror tier, which is kind of going to be weird because you can't get plus arrow implicit, so mirror tier is going to have some different ramifications now, which means this quiver may have a whole hell of a lot of staying power. I may be using this thing for like a few weeks until I get it replaced. Definitely at the very bottom of my priorities, replacing this quiver. Now, my initial plan was to do some essence crafting on a quiver with a base like this. The base is basically the same as the one in the build guide. I figured I would use shrieking or maybe deafening essences on it. The problem, even deafening essences only results in a tier 2 physical damage roll, so you already feel kind of bad there. But you can see I do actually have flaring tier 1 physical roll. How did I do that? Well, I did the good old-fashioned alt regal approach, whereas essences would have taken about an average of 200 hits just to hit bow attacks, fire an additional arrow. Dirty, by the way, like you would have to clean it up after that, which means about a 40% chance you fail cleaning it up, or more actually. Whereas that is one route. If you go alt spam into regal, first of all, it's guaranteed to be clean, but it's going to take way more time. It's going to take thousands of alterations, and on average about 400 regal orbs. But if you actually do the math on that, it's not obscenely expensive, and that is the important. That's how you do the craft. Basically, it's all about the beginning steps. So you get a base, you get the physical damage to attacks with the fractured mod, and then super pray for regal straight into bow attacks, fire additional arrow, and I hit it on the second try. I wasn't even seriously going to do it. I was just kind of sitting there like lollygagging, like I went to look up how much it would be and how long it would take. I was like, man, I'm not about to sit here for like hours and try to craft this thing. But I just started doing it. I don't know what would have happened if I would have failed it. I guess I had a backup one, and the backup one is basically the same thing except no arrows fire additional, no attacks fire additional arrow mod on it. So way worse quiver in general. So super stoked and happy about that one. This whole process of gearing up this character and having it in the back of my mind since League start, and collecting the very first item I bought for this character was a perfect divination distillate, followed by a perfect Bisco's leash, and then You know, getting the rarity flask also on standby. Just getting those pieces one after another, using some live search. It's been a really fun process when trade is up, of course. Yeah, so let's move on to another item here. We got another crafted item that I did. I was just going to kind of try and purchase one like this, but I realized I should just do Eldritch crafting. It's actually very easy to craft this item. You just get a base, and then I use the essences for... You can see I have a tier 0 strength roll, so I use the Rage Essence until I hit a tier 1 resist, and I need lightning resist, but it can be any resist because I can just harvest craft it differently, so terrifically convenient craft there. I actually managed to hit lightning resistance and high rolls on all tier 1 suffixes. Very nice. To close it out was a little bit frustrating. It actually took me a few more Eldritch currencies than I hoped it would, and it didn't exactly end out perfect. But anyway, tier 3 life, tier 2% evasion on a lion pelt is nice, and it enables me to benchcraft AoE and increase area of effect, which is really nice in conjunction with Plague Bearer, and increase area of effect, and then of course Grace getting some benefits there. Defiance banner, I may put Purity of Elements, but I don't know, Purity of Elements levels don't give you very much, to be honest. So that is a nice setup there. Back to increased duration support, cast and damage taken, Immortal Call, and Val Haste in here. On top of a Goldwyrm, I managed to buy these because they're incredibly cheap. This is how you know magic finding is dead, so to speak, on day 3. This was, I don't even know, I think this was only like 50 chaos to get this. It's basically free. Perfect Goldwyrms are essentially free right now, with no enchant, no corruption. But even with this corruption, this is probably the second best corruption for my build, with the incredible synergies with endurance charges. It really scales up the value of max endurance charge. I did go ahead and pay a TFT lab runner to give me the stun immunity effectively. Cost me half a divine for that. A future upgrade, of course, will include tornado shot, fire an additional secondary projectile. Probably just recraft an entirely new one, buy a base, and recraft a new one when I do that. I don't know. We'll see. I still got Zenith's Gentle Touch still right here. We got Goldwyrm in now. We got a Ventor's Gamble that's a tiny bit worse than the one in the build guide. So this is probably, I think this is the only item that I have that is categorically worse rolled than what I had in the build guide. Now, I did have a little bit hard time finding Ventors. It's very tricky to snipe these, set up a live search parameters for this. I need the cold res to be a little higher than the lightning res, to be a little higher than the fire res. So the resistances are really nice here. I wish they were all about 5 or 6 higher. I do wish the quant roll was a bit higher or whatever, but it's okay. You know, we'll keep working on that. Extraordinarily strong Darius' Defiance. This thing is, again, similarly dirt cheap. If you go look up Darius' Defiance, like perfectly rolled, nobody wants this chest except me, I guess. Got pretty lucky with the 6 links too. You can see all these 6 links here definitely was easier than getting Cherubim's Maleficence 6 linked, unfortunately for me. But fortunately, it worked out. It helps when quality is 30%, by the way. So yeah, Dark Scorn's here. That's done. Ming's Heart is one of the only items I haven't scrolled over, I think. And it is perfect. Literally a perfect Ming's Heart. It cost me, I think I paid 1 divine for literally perfect. So this is an example of where I always spend more currency than what I figure most people will. You can get one that's almost this good for like 10 chaos or something. But yeah, if you want a literally perfect Ming's Heart, you're going to pay. And I kind of need it because my chaos res is only 4 over cap, for example, right now. And then we got Zerfy's Heart, of course. Now, apparently the market crashed immediately after I bought mine. It was beginning to start crashing when I bought it. I was tired of waiting. I wanted to get the build done. I spent about 4 divines for this, or sorry, 3.5, I think. But the price is down to like 2.5 at the time of me recording this video. The flasks are extremely good. I'm super happy about the flasks. They're completely set. I've even managed to get 28% on all of them. 1 point away from perfect on that. The Dying Sun a Dying Sun rolled this well is really hard to get your hands on. I can't believe I managed to snipe this for 1 divine somehow. It's almost perfect. Yeah, and then of course perfect gold flask, perfect quicksilver flasks with their corresponding suffixes. And perfect divination distillate. And we actually want quality on it. Divination Distillate. Check this out. It works. It actually works completely full. So I wasn't crazy when I was talking earlier in a highlight on day 1. They definitely changed something, because even if I'm full mana and full life, it now works. And that's how I expected it to work. Because indeed, life flasks you could consume the charges of life flasks even when you were on full life before. I know some people were suggesting otherwise, but you definitely could. Alright, yeah. Oh, I didn't mention the Eldritch Implicity. I did actually go for Grand here. Got very lucky with the Grands, even though they're pretty expensive on the Eater of Worlds side. Only took me like 5 to hit this. Really kind of wanted the extra reservation. So, what does this look like in the PoB? Let's find out. I'm going to do a map here at the end, but here's the PoB that I have for my character. Now, I've just loaded this into my own build guide, and you'll see that my damage is almost the same. I think it was 11.2 million DPS with a full-blown cluster, by the way. So that's one way I know that my gear is better than the build guide. Also, the effective hit pool is definitely higher, because I think it was a little under 40k. I do have more life as well. The jewels are better. They actually have 4 mods, not 3. 4 valuable mods, not 3. That's a good one right there. Here's another pretty good one. And this is an absolute damage monster. This is a freaking beast of a jewel. Somehow this came up on my radar, and you know, nobody really wants this because they're all searching for ones that have % life on it. So this thing's a lot of damage. Why should I take this out? I lose 1.5 million DPS when I take that out. That's crazy how much damage that's giving me. And the damaging ailments deal damage 6% faster is not included in that calculation, by the way. So that's wild. Everything else is exactly the same. I am level 95 right now, so I mean, it's basically it's a kind of a non-cluster setup, although I do have I have gotten out of the way the medium cluster, and I figured it was probably important for me to do this one because as you guys know, I need Spike Concoction in order to fire an additional arrow through Dying Sun to hit the 50% threshold. Because I got 10% here, I got 20% through the Ascendancy, the small nodes there, and I have another 10% from these small nodes. That's 40, and then I need 10 more through Alchemist Genius and Spike Concoction. I can almost drop the Thief's Craft here. I'm looking forward to drop that. Right now, my next point would go into the Life Mastery. I think having these 4 points is really nice value in the event that the clusters are not set up, taking all the minimal life nodes. It's well-rounded character. It's really nice. So let's see how it plays in game. Oh yeah, I could get an extra Frenzy Charge, but it's not that crazy. Frenzy Charges on the build. Mainly the next upgrade is going to be the major clusters, and I'm just following these notes. Oh, I forgot to mention on the skill gems. You know, I am already starting to get some alternate quality gems, like Divergent Tornado Shot and Anomalous Greater Multiple Projectiles, as well as Divergent Plague Bearer for additional Chaos multi. So getting a little bit of extra damage there. Kind of prioritizing my own notes, so I can't remember everything that I want to upgrade, as you guys can figure. So I'm getting as much value as out of anyone else by following the notes here. The additional upgrades, definitely looking for, you know, I've already gotten perfect or near perfect rolls on all the flasks. Maximum quality on gems, the benefit, I've hit that already. 21 gems, haven't really done that too much yet, although kind of in these cases, well, I have for Grace and kind of using alternate quality instead there. Have not gotten any Awakened gems yet. They're pretty expensive still. Haven't gotten Anomalous Blood Rage. It's also kind of expensive. 2 Divines, I think. Some of these others don't give you that much. Tornado Shot fires an additional secondary projectile. Will be 25% more DPS, so that should be pretty high on the radar. But the bases cost something like 5, 6, 7 Divines on a good base. And you're going to pay more than that if you pay somebody to put it on an already finished one. An Enlightened support, yeah, that would be nice to squeeze that in, I guess. Although it's not really that necessary. Probably do something cool with the level 3 Enlightened support if I have it. Here's another big one, additional curse. So, you know, with the Enlightened support or even without it, I can get swap over to Whispers of Doom and drop Defiance banner. So I guess with the Enlightened support, I could put Defiance banner back in. If I have the gem slots for it. Anyway, it can do Whispers of Doom or Corrupted Zerfies, but we're not going to get a Corrupted Zerfies for a while with how expensive they were. Not going to be corrupting Ming's Heart anytime soon. Oh, yeah. Massive Thread of Hope. Definitely in the next day or two, going to get one of those, I suspect. I don't know about Lethal Prime Brutal Restraint. I think the large wheel one's actually really good there. Expedition's End. I'm not going to do Expedition's End until I craft a better bow, like a 50 to 100 divine bow. Headhunter will be before that, I think. Yeah, we already quiver. I've already done 20 with the quiver, with better craft and the quiver. Yeah, pretty good. Things worked out pretty well there. So let's see it in action. Do one map here. This is also not going to feature any major highlights. I'm just going to run, I don't know, just run one Jungle Valley. I'm onto Eater World side because, you know, I'm doing the exact same farm I did in the last video. And except I moved it over to Eater of Worlds because I was farming Grand Eldritch Ichors and I figured I'd just stay over there. So here it is in action. This is almost as powerful as... I mean, I'd say it basically is as powerful as my the one I showcased in the build guide. It will definitely be better once I get clusters. That large cluster is going to be pretty hard to get. I see it coming up on trade a few times here or there, but it's actually the perfect cluster is a few divines on trade. It's pretty hard to hit. You don't necessarily have to hit. See, even lesser Eldritch currencies still going for over a chaos apiece, which is pretty wild. I also had somebody want to buy a bunch of those beach maps. You know, people might be skeptical. Are you really selling T15 Jungle Valleys and T14 beaches? Well, I sold 60 T14 beaches all at once for 4 chaos apiece to a guy, and then he came back and bought the rest later on. So I guess, you know, somebody out there wants them. Stats look pretty good here. You can see the rarity and everything. It goes up to, I think, 252 at 1,000 rampage stacks, 48% increased quantity. I have not unlocked the rest of my Atlas. Still sitting at like 8 points, Atlas points away from completely unlocked. I got to do the other 2 bosses. I don't know. I guess I can do them myself. I just kind of need to buy 1 ring. Well, maybe 1 Circle of Anguish. And then I still have my old boots and my old belt that would service me pretty well for that. Ironically, this character, I mean, with a bunch of magic fine gear on, is a little bit slower than the Poisonous Concoction, but primarily just on account of shield charge being so unbelievably overpowered. I cannot for the life of me understand why a character wearing a shield can move faster than a character wearing a bow. That definitely doesn't make sense from a practical standpoint. But anyway, that's it. I got a little bit of currency and paid nothing for that map. So, as far as farming strategies in the future, I'm going to be probably spending some more time on Cemetery here pretty soon. Maybe try to do some Divination card farming. I might do some Enrage Strongbox farming. I really don't feel like doing Crimson Temple, as you can imagine. I could probably stomach Enrage Strongbox farming. The Sexton's going to be dirt cheap right now. But I kind of want to do Breach instead. I know people are saying Breach is not good, but the more people say Breach is not good, the fewer people farm them, the higher the demand for their supplies will go. So it might actually be the perfect time to start farming Breach right now. Kind of like how the stock market works. You know, if everybody says it's amazing, it's probably not a good time to get in. But when everybody says it's terrible, it's probably the right time to get in. So, basically, yeah. So that's it. That is the story for day 3. I hope trade... GGG breathes a little more life into trade and keeps it functioning for us. It's really frustrating when it's down so much. I have no idea what's going on with that on their server's end. But yeah, that's the only thing that I'm not happy about with this entire league start. The league mechanic, a lot of people aren't happy about it. Well, I haven't even touched it, and I never touch the league mechanic typically for the first few days because A, it's not necessary to get a well-functioning character that can, you know, farm really well. It's not like you're going to get ahead really by doing the league mechanic. Generally speaking, certainly not for the last 3 leagues in a row. But B, it distracts you. You know, it takes up extra time and quite often sets you behind if you mess with it. But of course, you know, people play the game for different reasons. I like getting myself to a sort of baseline power threshold before I start investing time in the new league mechanic, because I'm here to stay for a while, and I'll get around to it. Most definitely. And it is about time for me to look into it. Even though I'm wearing a unique bow, I should look into the possibility of getting a nice crucibled dark scorn, because I'm not going to get a bow upgrade from dark scorn for a while. So yeah, probably a good idea to invest in that. Let me know what you think. Are you enjoying the league? Are you enjoying the league mechanic? Are you enjoying Poison Tornado Shot? Are you still farming different things? Are you enjoying an absolute no investment strategy that I came out with yesterday? I hope that brought a lot of value to you guys. I think, once again, we find ourselves in a situation where people are kind of struggling to make currency in the beginning because the league mechanic's not dropping any currency. So the more conventional old school methods of getting currency seem to be rising in value. And yeah, I was happy I could bring that video out to you. It definitely got a lot of views, so we'll see. Let me know where you're at, what you're thinking, or if you're still on Poisonous Concoction, how that's going. All right, I'm out for now. Probably will not be a day 4 update because I think what's going to happen is I'm not going to stream today. As of day 4, I'm not going to stream today. I'm just going to kind of relax a little bit, bask in the glory of my finished character. Preliminarily finished, and work on getting some major upgrades and finding a new farming strat so we can pump out a few more videos that'll come out with some cool strats. Again, probably on Cemetery. So I will see you in the Cemetery, where the Brother's Gift will be gracing us with its presence right and left, I hope. More on that in the coming days. So bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your league start.